What up, guys? How's everyone doing? Wait, I'm gonna angle this down. Okay. So this video I'm recording because it's a sort of it's a mixed bag, but the big piece on it is like what. So as you rapidly grow yourself, and this is sort of in the self development category, there's a lot of you'll find that there's a lot of people preaching or standing on their hills, I guess, the mountains, standing on top of the mountains that they've climbed, and yelling down at people and telling them how to live. Like this is, and they're not actually, they're just yelling down and saying, hey, you should change because it's better up here. But what a lot of people do is they end up taking the information that's out there and they try to emulate it in their own lives. And there's a couple of things that's wrong with this, and I think just at a fundamental level, you'll never be as good as someone by copying them. It's like that in business, and you see it in elements across the world. There are imitations of things, but they're usually never as good as the actual thing. And I think there's a great explanation of this, and it's Alex Ramosi talking about how his competition, he was I mean, I don't think that Alex Ramosi, but with Alex Ramosi, if you take his businesses, he's moved faster than everyone else, right? And so if you're the fastest mover and you have an Alex Ramosi as somebody copying him, they're always going to be not as good as him because they're trying to copy him. And so taking directly from Alex Ramosi's words, you have to differentiate yourself in a competitive market, right? And so it's the same with personality. It's the same with what you're doing in your life. And even more important, you have to differentiate yourself in a way that helps you. So there's a big lesson that I've had to learn, and it's that everything in my life is my fault. And I think fundamentally I understood that, but it's also it's easier and sometimes nicer just to say, oh, it's that person's fault. But in the long run, it wasn't helping me at all because I was just lying to myself every day. And so I think you have to be that you have to be that change, and you have to embody it. And realistically, everything works that's the one constant between people, is that they're different, right? And so I hear people saying oh, I take all the apps off my phone, and I don't eat food in the mornings, and I do a 2-hour morning routine. And to me, it's I listen to that, and because they're successful, I'm tempted to do what they're doing. So I'm maybe this red light will help my business, right? And in a way, in reality, what's happening is that I'm just happier to think about how the red light could improve my business than how much, and not realizing that the actual time spent trying to do the red light will actually just take away from my business because it's literally just a matter of inputs and outputs. And so this structure has been really helpful for me, and it's that people that are better than you or that are farther along in business than you should take their words as advice, okay? And test. Don't just say, oh, well, I have to be me. You should test the things that they do as well, because some of them might work for you, right? Some of them might not. You have to be super honest and super self-reflective. And when you do that, it's like split testing ads. There's going to be a split test and you're like, whoa, this is a noticeable improvement. When I when I realized that I was procrastinating in the mornings, I was like, oh, okay, problem solved. Just took out all the shit that I was doing in the morning, just threw it out, and just went to work in the mornings. Obviously, I take a walk, but like I just moved straight into working. And I realized I was actually more happy for it as well. And so, like, just continuing to test is the thing that I think you should do, and I found the most success with. And then on the note of self improvement, and then beyond that, I think that if you can, yeah, if you can just systemize things and define your vision or what you want in life, like if you want a lot of money or you want a successful business or to help people, these things, they vary, right? But once you've like, and I've had the absolute pleasure of building out vision documents in my business, and I think I'm gonna start doing some business videos because I think they're like super informative, and a friend asked me about them. But yeah, so that'll be cool. But in the meantime, basically, if you have vision in your life or you know where you want to go, then if you can think of every action in your day from the moment you wake up to the moment you sleep as either in alignment, an input that is a positive to that goal, so getting you closer, it's a step towards it, or an input that's not, right? And like it even breaks into health. So you could be like, well, like what about eating or sleeping? Like those aren't really, they are because you have to be alive to reach the place that you want to go. So health and vision, and they all align, and you just block out your day with as much of that as you can put into it, and you'll get to the place that you want to go faster. And not even faster, you'll get there. It's assured that you'll get there, right? And then, yeah, just increasing your leverage of your activities. So, like, for me, I have to hire people now because I don't want to be doing web design every day when it's like just a chore, and I could be just calling clients all day and building content. And I've sort of realized that, which is like, okay, task allocation. I need somebody to do web design. I need somebody to a dev, and I need the big part is that I need clients that are actually like constructively paying well, so that I can keep those people just on payroll and not like have them on Fiverr jobs, because that's it. But it's kind of a leap into hiring. So yeah. Anyways, if you take anything from this, it's that like you don't have to listen to everything that the person that you want to become is doing, or the successful person, because it is our differences that make us who we are, and it's okay to be different. You should know that. But if you are struggling, a good place to start is to look at, like, if you're struggling to emulate the successful habits of someone, just take all the mistakes and analyze those, because usually they're a lot more high value. And I like my ears and my brain fire up when I hear somebody say, I made this big mistake when I was coming up. Like, for example, Alex Ramosi said, not making content was a huge mistake. And I was like, well, I'm just going to make content now. And that was the deciding factor, because you can, with a mistake, you can directly extrapolate the timeline. So you can take basically, this is the downtrend to the mistake, and then this is the uptrend from the mistake, or maybe it continued in a downtrend, but you know the entire cycle. So with success, the person may be speaking on a success that happened just now, and you don't know whether that success will trigger a failure or the other way. Like you don't know what's going to happen, because if you think of it as like the data set's not full, right? And so like, yes, you can extrapolate successes that are old successes upwards, but there's a lot more inputs that go into there. It's honestly the clearest way of looking at all this stuff is thinking about people's mistakes and then learning from those, and then your own mistakes as well. And it's an awesome way to redefine like, because then failure is no longer a word, right? It's just learning. um, and so yeah, that's super cool. Um, what's another thing? Oh, recently I've been building a website for someone, and they were not super stoked on the end product, which made me realize that I had missed a stage, which was vision and scope. So like, I didn't account, now that I'm looking through my new web design proposal for a new company, is that there's a whole visioning segment, and it kind of makes sense. In fact, it makes a lot of sense, which is just like, um, you you have to know what the person wants, and so like I can't see what he sees. Simple. I can't see what my client sees. I know what I would do, and so that's exactly what I built. And it's an awesome website for my company and how I would run my company, but I'm not running the company, and he's the one paying for the website. So make sure you segment vision into part of your delivery process so that you know what your client wants exactly. Because once you know what your client wants, then it's a lot easier to give them what they want. Um, uh, yeah, that's it. I'm going to talk to you guys later, but it was a good video.